YouTube, how you doing? As you all know, I've got to actually get a new chair, which is rather frustrating, but unfortunately that's just the side effect of things sometimes, and that's just life. But on the other notes, my internet and everything else actually seems to be working a lot better than it was originally, which is great. The only issue I'm having at the moment seems to be with my ISP. They've given us an invoice that we couldn't quite accept because it was charging us too much. We were told there wouldn't be any fees involved or anything of that nature. I've recorded the last call that I had with them. They said they'd look into it and they said the guy would call me back. Now, look, I'm all for my ISP, you know, charging a certain amount in a given situation. I understand this. We've got our previous bill plus the stuff we owe for this bill. But the thing is, we were told there would be no setup fees, no other fees involved, because we were told there wouldn't be, and they were just going to waive them completely. That's what I was told by Transact. Now, on the other hand, on the other side of it, where fucking iiNet's pretty much turning around and saying to us, oh, you know, well, we'll look into it. Anyway, I had this guy, he said he'd look into it, and he said, look, I said, I don't want to be stressed with this, I want you to handle it, I want you to get it fixed up. And I said, can you get this fixed up so it's not going to be hanging over our heads? So let's see, it's been, since my last correspondence with the gentleman in question, it has been, look, if I can actually see if I can find the email. Because I did have a copy of the email here, and I can tell you honestly, this is how long they've taken to fix up the problem. Which I'm sorry, but in my mind, this is absolutely atrociously shocking. Alright, let's just search an email and see what we've got. Probably have to go to the webinar most likely. See what it comes up with anyway. Actually, it might not be there. Archives. Okay. Archive mail. Okay, delete that because I don't need that anymore. Let's see. Okay, so I should have a copy of this guy's email there. Now, what he basically said to me is he'll fix the problem up, he'll look into it, and he'll see what the billing errors that had occurred and what was going on with the system, basically. What was pretty much the issue. Now, so that's a sign tool. Support emails. A few of these. Specifically the ones I'm looking for. These are maintenance emails. Probably easier to actually search for the title, so what I'll do is I'll go back and press the actual website. I did have a copy of it, and I do still have a copy of it. Actually, it might be in my sent items box. So, the last corresponding date was probably... I didn't want that. That's not a... Flash potato. Flash potato? Flash potato. Sent items, which would have been sent all last week or so, because I haven't sent any new emails lately. So the last correspondence that I had with this gentleman in question was the 10th of February. Now today is the 23rd of February. I sent him two correspondence. I sent him one on the 5th of February, and I sent him one on the 10th. He did not get back to me, and he never forwarded anything to me, and never said anything to me at all. I've got email proof, I've got all the stuff here, none of the original emails. The person in question was an iiNet representative. Now that's cool, as I said, maybe he's still fixing things up, I understand. But my question is, it's the 23rd. I mean, I emailed them on those 2 dates, and that was me just checking. Now, by now it should have been fixed because he said he was said he was going to get back to me the Wednesday before that or something. So when did I email him? I emailed him on the 5th, so I don't know, I'll have to check exactly what day that is, but the 5th would have been, 5th of February would have been, let's see, 5th of February would have been Friday, so he should have got back to me on a Wednesday, because I'm pretty sure that I talked to him before that. I talked to him probably on the 1st, I think it was a Monday, or most likely a Monday I talked to him to get everything sorted. Monday or Tuesday. So I emailed him on the 5th. I probably even emailed him before that, probably into last month, to be honest. But they've also got corresponding notes on the system as well. I'm thinking of actually capturing a record of those too, just so they know. All my iiNet and Transact services haven't been cancelled. They're still in flux and they're still being looked at. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, fucking hell, what the hell? Does it take that long to actually cancel the services? Now, granted, it took about maybe about 7 days for us. No, it was probably about almost 2 weeks by the time we got everything completed. Almost, maybe 14 days. Might have been a little bit less, maybe. It was something around that number anyway. It was around 14 days. It felt like it anyway at the time, to get the internet reconnected, because we were going back onto they were put us onto the iiNet network pretty much, which was all the rigmarole to get it all changed over. Now, I was told by the customer service representative in question, he turned around, well, not him, there was another representative who actually told me this, but there's a representative from Transact who came around and told us, look, said, well, okay, since you're with us on this plan, or since we've already told you that you're not going to receive any charges for changing over to iiNet as a network and everything else, well, we're not going to charge you. We'll refund you in some form, or we'll just not completely wipe the fees off the bracket. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, not a problem, thank you. So comes to the next week, and they pull $100 extra out of their ass on top of what we were already paying for the internet, for the new internet. They pull an extra $100 out, and I'm like, what the fuck is this extra $100 for? She said, well, it's the setup fee, and I said, well, no, I was told I wasn't going to get a setup fee. I was told at the time I was not going to receive one, and that was what I was told by Transact. Now, as I said, it was sort of cross-mixed messages. I didn't record that phone call at the time. I probably should have. I probably should have recorded a few phone calls before that. But now I'm going to make the habit when I'm on the phone with iiNet and things of that nature. I'm just going to basically record it, and I'm just going to have it on speakerphone and just make my own copy of it, just so for my own records. This is just so because I've been pissed off about talking to iiNet before, and they've told me one thing and they've done the other. They've done the opposite of what they told me. Now, I'm sorry, but it is starting to piss me off. Now, Telstra, in their infinite wisdom, I did have a bit of a rant about them and their communication issues. They fixed their communication issues, it seems, or they fixed most of their communication issues because everything got sorted out for me. Well, it took a few weeks, but they did eventually sort it out, and then they credited me back on my bill. So I actually have a couple of bills that are getting paid for through Telstra Credit, which is fantastic. I'm actually ecstatically happy about that, and I want to shout out to Telstra for doing that, because the amount of shit and trouble that I had to go through and the amount of problems that I had, I was actually quite happy for them to do that and credit that stuff back to me. That was great. I mean, they didn't necessarily have to do that, but they did. Now, at the end of it, not just that, but, you know, as I said, the amount of trouble I went through with the whole situation with Telstra, that was just bullshit. But what I'm not understanding with my current ISP and my current ISP and my current phone provider is that every single site that I've looked on, this is all site review sites and everything else, and this includes rating sites. Most of them say 1 to 2 stars, if not 1 point. I think it's like 1.9, which is almost a 2. Now, infinitely, look, as I said, they obviously need to raise their game in customer service. Now, I have nothing against them, you know. I have nothing against them trying to better themselves, because it seemed like they were bettering themselves. They seemed to, I mean, the service I'm getting now, in the sense of what my connection is and everything else, that's better. That's all good. That side of it, I'm pretty happy with at the moment. Mind you, I did a couple of things on my end to sort of help it as well, but there's not just that. It's also, you know, the net has been a lot more reliable lately since I switched directly over to iiNet, a connection directly to it. So that's cool, no problem, great, cool, no problem. Now, the thing I'm pissed off about is the bill. The bill was a big issue because the bill is, it's an integral part of everything. It's not just that, it's also a very confusing bill. It's not the easiest bill to read, especially for my dad, because he's in an older age bracket. I mean, even myself, I have, I don't have terrible problems reading, and I can read it and I can place out what costs are to what particular things they are attached to. But the other side of it too is some of these bills, I'm just like, well, what the fuck? Well, what are these excess fees for? What is all this bullshit for? I'm sorry, but it's just, it doesn't make sense to me. And the truth is, I'm pretty sure that it's down to iiNet / I'd say it's a combination of iiNet and Transact combined. Their issues between the two of them. I think it's communication between the two companies. Internally, I'd say that it's communications between them in the sense that, okay, from what I'm gathering, Transact or iiNet customer service guys have to ring up iiNet, not iiNet, they have to ring up Transact, get online and get on hold. Then they get on the line and they get on hold and they have to stay on hold for probably the same amount of time that a normal customer would, which is honest. They should have an express system that works a little better. Now, to be honest, I mean, as I said, I understand not all customers are switched over to iiNet, but you would think that system, eventually all these systems would be integrated with each other, be switched over with each other, and they'd have, they'd mash them together, so it would be easier to fucking deal with customer service complaints or customer service issues. Now, probably the reason they're having a lot of issues with this stuff, not sure, as I said, I'm not sure. But the thing that I've worked out myself, and the personal gripes that I've got with iiNet, is that they're not putting 100% into their customer base. Yes, they are in some ways. Yes, they're nice to their customers, they're constructive to their customers, but they're always not telling the customer the complete truth. Now, okay, I understand some customers are not going to understand the technical jargon, and they're not going to understand how an ISP works. They're not going to understand the fundamentals of how things work in the IT world. This is true. But I'm the type of customer who actually understands that stuff and gets it. I get the point of view and how it works and how things are in the real world. And I understand the mistakes happen, but oh my god, the amount of mistakes between Transact and iiNet at the moment are astronomically high. And I'm sorry, that's just pretty bad on my spectrum. I'm not going to dictate to them what they have to do, but I mean, obviously there's some things that need to be worked out. There's some things that they need to come to a conclusion, well, okay, maybe if we did it this way, maybe if we adjusted it a bit, maybe this would actually turn out better. Now, at the end of it, I'm not going to criticise them completely. They are running a business, but they've got the worst, if you look online, they've got the worst rating for customer service. Their customer service support system is absolute shithouse. And most places that I'm seeing, and most people that I'm coming across, same complaint. Customer service is lacking extremely. Now, they should know this, and they should be well aware of this, and they should actually have somebody look into why the customer service is lacking, and why things aren't getting completed, why jobs aren't going ahead or being done correctly. I mean, I know Telstra is probably partly to blame for wholesale network stuff and everything else, but it's not all Telstra. It has to be some of the actual phone company itself, and it has to be either one or two sides. It has to be Transact or iiNet. I mean, they're supposed to be the same company, but they don't feel like the same company because most of the time they're pretty much separated out in their own way. And the truth of the situation is that it just makes the situation more difficult for a customer who's calling up, who's on the Transact network or who has been on the Transact network. It makes things a lot more difficult. It makes things slower. Things just, they grind to a halt and they basically stop. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? Seriously? Oh, look, I'm sorry. I'm not. The truth is, they have to learn that their customer service needs to improve. Either Transact or iiNet, or a combination of the two. Because they need to learn that they're doing something wrong, because obviously they're doing something wrong because it's the same complaint from every person, or very similar complaints from each individual. And this is for going through several different complaints on rating websites and stuff. And this is not just that, but this is also my own personal experience. I've had moments where I've got hung up on, I've had moments where they redialed. Yes, okay, we get hung up on, things happen. I know, shit, it's human error, it's bullshit, it happens. But there's the other side of it too, where it's computer error and glitches in the system. I understand that stuff happens as well, but my god, how many glitches have they had lately? And how long does it take to cancel several services that should have been cancelled? On top of that, my dad's mobile is now with Vodafone, which should have been cancelled for the Transact network, which never was. Apparently it's still existing on the Transact network, which doesn't make sense because the number no longer exists on the Transact network anymore. Like, it's already been ported over to Vodafone. So at the same time, I don't know, maybe it's because Vodafone is sort of Vodafone and technically iiNet and all these other companies like that are intertwined with each other. Maybe it's something to do with that. Maybe it's something specific. Maybe it's an account error. Maybe I'm just an unlucky one to get a glitch in the system. But I don't think. I think there's a lot of other people who are getting glitches in the system too. And there's also the fact that, okay, I knew what my number was because I was checking the tech support notes and everything else. I knew what my new phone number was. But they didn't give me a customer service courtesy call to say, this is your new number, yada yada yada, this is your new service, all that type of stuff. They never did anything like that. Never gave me any information at all. I had to rely on my own tech savviness to actually check on the website to see what was going on there, to actually get the number and get all the corresponding details of that number. And, you know, not just that, but all the services that I've registered and stuff. So at the end of it, I'm sorry, but Jesus Christ, for a normal customer, it'd be a fucking living nightmare, especially somebody even older age bracket, like 70 odd, or, you know, like 60 or 69, or, you know, 65 or something like that, or somebody who's even a little bit younger, 50 or whatever. People would have a fucking living nightmare trying to work out what the fuck was going on because the company doesn't inform anybody about what the fuck is going on in the first place. And I'm sorry, but that's the truth. That's the truth of the situation, and it's an iiNet / Transact rant. This is pretty much what this whole video is in its entirety. It's just a rant on what shit service, in the sense of, okay, my internet's actually running a bit better, which I'm quite happy with. That's cool. I'm happy with the internet running better now that I've got everything set up correctly and it's running nicely. What I'm more concerned about is the customer service level that you do get from the company is absolutely shithouse. I would be honest with Telstra, there's the same context. I've never had a problem with Telstra mobile services up until that little rant that I had with their communication issues and stuff. But now all of a sudden I'm having, you know, as I said, I've had ongoing issues with iiNet, and it's more ongoing issues with Transact. I think Transact is sort of related to the whole thing. Now I'm on iiNet, maybe things have changed in the sense of my reliability of my internet seems to be better. That's great. I'm fantastically happy about that. What I'm not happy about is the customer service level that you do get from people. The fact that you're told that you get a callback, you don't get a callback at all, then it's listed as being a callback or need to be called back, and nobody calls you back, nobody gives you a phone, nobody says anything to you. I'm sorry, it's absolute fucking bullshit. You should not, I swear to God, as a customer, I should not have to deal with this. And this is the same with any customer. I don't care what walk of life the customer comes from. Even if the person wasn't tech savvy, they shouldn't have to deal with this. They shouldn't have to deal with that level of non-interactiveness, because that's almost what it feels like. It feels like there's just no customer service interacting with anybody at all. Like, there's just none. There's none at all. And the truth is, it needs to be fixed. This is something that needs to be worked on, and obviously iiNet / Transact combo have... Yeah, I mean, I know Telstra is partly to blame because Telstra are a bit slow when the uptake with some of their jobs, and, you know, and they won't necessarily connect things straight away, yada yada. And I know Telstra technicians are not always the easiest people to deal with. I'm aware of this shit, but no, that's not the problem, people. That's not the issue. The issue, it's probably a big debacle of maybe all three. Actually, probably all four. So Vodafone, iiNet, which Vodafone, iiNet, and Transact are pretty much the same network because Vodafone bought out iiNet. So did, sorry, well, correct me. As far as I know, as far as I'm aware, iiNet uses the mobile network from Vodafone to do its mobile services. Transact uses that mobile network as well. iiNet uses the internet services that it has its own from its own provider stuff, but it's also provided through Telstra as well. I've seen there's been a lot of stuff ups at Telstra, and I'm not arguing. You know, I know shit happens, and I know that there's crap that's going on, obviously. But telcos are going to realise that the quality and the standards of telecommunication in this country have to rise. You know, we have to get it to a better level because at the moment it's just absolutely fucked in the sense of what it's doing for the country. God, we can say the same for our politicians, to be truthful. But look, honestly, my own personal opinion, I think it's not just my personal opinion, it's about a dozen other people who are freaking technicians in the first place, who have the exact same, almost very close or similar opinion to myself, which are, they stuffed up on the NBN, they stuffed up on a lot of stuff, but I mean, aside from that, that's a discussion for another day. What I'm more concerned about is lacking customer services with certain providers these days. I'm not saying it's all providers, most providers are pretty good, but iiNet was, up until a good certain point, okay with their customer service. They weren't too bad. The other side of it too is, you know, as I said, I think it depends on the customer service rep that you talk to. As I said, I sent this guy 2 emails. I didn't send him, I sent him one on the 5th, I sent him one on the 10th. So there was like a few days in between each email. So the first one was on the 5th, so that's, let's see, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. So this is almost like 6 days that I haven't sent him an email. Then I sent him another email 6 days later after I sent him one on the 5th. And I get no response at all. No response. I sent an email to this new guy, which I've got his email there as well. I've got his email marked off as well, which is great, that's cool. His email's marked off and all good. He said he would look into it and he would see if that gentleman could call me back. So I'm sitting here and I'm scratching my brain as to how many... It's like, you know, how many technicians does it change to take a light bulb? Yeah. How many technicians does it take to change a light bulb, to be honest? How many internet technicians or tech support line technicians does it take to change a light bulb? Apparently, my God, with Telstra it was a countless number of them. I went for a dozen different ones before I actually ended up getting to the person who ended up fixing the situation. Then it's probably about 2 or 3, 4, probably about 2 or 3. 2 or 3 so far. As I said, the first person I talked to, then I talked to another person before that. So it's about 2 or 3. There's about 2 or 3 people I've talked to now to actually get through and fix the problem I want to actually fix. Now, it should not, in this day and age of the lovely technology we do have, it should not be this fucking difficult to fix a problem such as a billing error. That obviously happened because, you know, there's a stuff up. I know stuff ups happen, I'm well aware of this, but God, it can't be that hard to sort the problem out. It can't be that hard to go back, re-invoice somebody, or credit somebody back on something. Jesus, I mean, seriously. Anyway, we haven't ended up paying any bills yet. We do have one big bill, which was from the previous month, which we understand that's the bigger bill. We understand that. But what I don't understand is there's another bill that they've got, which is obviously, they've dumped $100 on top of what it was already there for the internet, which is $89 for the internet and the phone. And I didn't want to know where this extra charge came from. I was told the setup charge, yes, but I was told I would wait, all setup charges would be waived for me. And I'm like, what the fuck? So at the end of it, I'm sorry, it's just bullshit. It's crap in my mind, and I think the company should be responsible enough to be able to interact with their customers, get back to them, act responsibly, and give back what they need to give back, you know? Or not just give back, but, you know, whether it's taking something off the bill, or fixing the bill, or a billing error, or something of that nature, you know? Companies should act responsibly and be willing to accept when there is errors in the system, because there is errors in the system. The system is not foolproof, and the system is not error-proof either. It happens all the time in computers, I know, because of my own personal experience from my hobby business stuff that I do, you know, that there's going to be errors, there's going to be stuff-ups, things happen. It's an ultimate stuff-up situation. So look, you know, that's life, but my God, I just wish it would be easy if they could just fix it. It'd be nice to be just one call, one or maybe 2 calls. Let's say a minimum 2 calls, and I could get it fixed in 2 calls. If I could get it fixed in 2 calls, I'd be happy. You know what I mean? Or even if I could just get it fixed the first time I ring up and actually explain the entire situation, and not have to go through a whole fucking spiel, you know, and just lay it all on the line, you know, every single fucking time I fucking call. I'm sorry, but it is frustrating to do that. But to be honest, it frustrates the hell out of me to do it. But I digress. I'm going to leave it there. That was my iiNet/Transact combo rant. It's also maybe a bit to do with Vodafone, but I don't know, because I don't know exactly what's going on there. But let's see what happens. So I'm going to upload this video at some point, which I will actually put it up. I just have to do some editing on it and stuff like that. So anyway, stay tuned. Thank you very much. This has been Beer Rant 500 or something. I don't know. I should probably think of a weird ass name for it or something. No, this has just been one of my rants. As I said, sometimes I got to rant about random shit, especially like that, because especially having to deal with Telstra and the crap. Well, first I had to deal with Telstra, which Telstra's okay now. They're actually doing pretty well in my books. Then I fucking had to deal with fucking iiNet. As I said, alright, this is my point, or the point that I'm trying to make. Telecommunication companies these days do not communicate, whether it be Telstra or any other company so far that I'm coming across. This probably even includes Optus and other big providers like that. They have a lot of communication problems between departments. I don't know what it is about the communication between departments that seems to get lost. Everything seems to get lost in fucking translation. It's like, you know, it's like fucking translating a fucking, it's like translating, you know, just different languages, like some ancient, archaic fucking Latin, fucking Egyptian motherfucking language to some new, you know, Hebrew thing or something like that, or, you know, some fucking German or English or whatever. My point is the translation gets so lost, the correlation between each thing that happened and didn't happen gets fucked in the ass. And to be honest, it can be quite frustrating, as you can understand from my point of view. So at the end of it, I've come to the conclusion that all I can do is just complain a bit, maybe have a bit of a rant about it, and just, you know, get my frustrations out, because I had to get my frustrations out, otherwise I just would have bottled up more and made me feel like shit. So, to reiterate, this was my rant. I hope you liked it. I hope you like my channel as per usual. Stay tuned. Thank you very much. Like, favourite, and subscribe. Thumbs down if you didn't like it. Thumbs up if you did. You know, you can contribute to my Patreon campaign, PayPal link, donation stuff. You know, there's heaps of stuff on my page. Click around all. I got my Google Plus too. I got tons of stuff on there. I don't know, just click random links. There's tons of stuff on there. There's always some interesting stuff that I've got to say about most of my tech habits and stuff like that. So please stay tuned, and I will be back with more. Probably another rant at some point. But this won't be in the future, till some point in the future when I feel like particularly ranting or going off my nut about something. Because there's just certain situations where I go, what the fuck, seriously, I'm trying my best here. Because most of the time I do try my best, and I feel like it's not enough sometimes. Okay, thank you very much. Cheers. And everybody, hope you have a good week. A good beer if you do have one. Or a good glass of red wine. Always nice. Thank you. Okay, catch you. Bye.